All right, this is Patrick Rogers, and today we have the privilege to have Derek Volk on the show. And Derek is the CEO of Volk Packaging Corporation. Welcome to the show, Derek.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, great to have you. And Derek, again, he's the owner of Volk Packaging and CEO, producing over 45 million in annual revenue, which is also it's a third generation family owned and operated corrugated box manufacturer. They're in Biddeford, Maine. Derek is a Maine businessman, best-selling author, former radio personality, and nationally recognized public speaker, grateful supporter of veterans organizations, and created the Volk Packaging Heroes Wall as a way to honor members of the U.S. Armed Forces, past and present. After sharing their story about raising a child with autism through a book and at conferences around the country, Derek, along with his family, was named the 2015 Spurwink Humanitarian of the Year. That same year, Maine Business named Derek to their next list, recognizing him as one of Maine's business trailblazers. 2021, he was inducted into the Manufacturers Association of Maine's Manufacturer Hall of Fame. With long roots in Maine and Volk Packaging serving over 500 Maine companies, the Maine business climate and the people of Maine are extremely important to his family and his business. He's currently in production for a new book called Go for Third, which discusses the lessons he gleaned from coaching many levels of softball and how they relate to the culture of business leadership. So Derek, very long line of successes and just doing amazing things there locally in your business, and I'm
Thank
sure
you.
even more than that. Great to have you on the show. Can't wait to dive in. Before we do, what's one interesting fact about yourself that not many people know?
Well, I'm a licensed skydiver, so that's a little
Oh,
unusual.
okay. That takes
So
hundreds and hundreds of dives, right?
I got it in about 40 jumps. So it took me
Or
about 40
not.
jumps to get it.
40 jumps. Okay.
So and so I've been doing that for 7 years now, and it's a lot of fun. It's exhilarating, and uh, every jump it's like playing golf. You can play the same golf course every time, but every time it's a little different.
Is that right? How many jumps have you done now?
I have 57 jumps.
57. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
pack your own chute?
I do not. I can. So I
You
learned how to
can.
pack my own chute. That's part of getting certified is you have to pack your own chute. That was probably the scariest jump I've ever had when I had to pack. I had to jump with the chute that I packed. I was not looking forward to that at all.
Right?
Yeah, it was nerve wracking because I was
Because
not confident in my skills.
oh my gosh. And do you
But
have
it
there?
opened.
Yeah, and
I'm
there's
still
is
here
there
to
a
talk
reserve
about it.
chute? Yeah, right.
There is a reserve chute. Yeah,
There is a
thank God.
reserve. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't
And
pack the reserve. That has to be done by a very, very highly technical licensed
okay,
expert.
so you got to know that one's. My dad was a parachute rigger in the Navy, so
Awesome.
I always ask the question because he only jumped one time and he had to he did it for his own shoot. He was like you, he was pretty nervous.
Yeah.
um, cool. So yeah, so tell us about Volk Packaging Corporation.
So Volk Packaging is a third generation family owned and operated corrugated box plant located in Biddeford, Maine. We also have a contract packaging company. So we do fulfillment, assembly, pack outs, kits, all kinds of things like that for customers as they need it. That's called Volk Packs It. So it's a division of Volk Packaging that we
Okay.
started in 2020.
Yeah.
We have about 110 employees here at the company.
Oh wow.
And it was started by my grandfather and my father. My uncle worked for the company for about 40 years. They've all since retired. My grandfather's passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's myself. My wife does some part time work, and my sister in law works with me. So, still a family business and
Awesome.
thriving. We have 12 sales reps. We sell to companies all over New England, and we're investing. We just spent $8 million on two brand new pieces of machinery
Wow.
simultaneously, which was a bit of a risk.
Bit of a
But
pull.
as
Yeah.
as I already said, I'm a bit of a risk taker. So, but it's very exciting. A lot of good things going on here, and really looking forward to some exciting growth in the next couple of years.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So share with us what you think is, some of the things that have allowed you to create that growth in your company, sustain the growth in the people, create the culture. What's really been your secret sauce, Derek?
I know it sounds really cliche, but it really is. It comes down to the people. If you don't have the right people in the right seats, committed to the work that they're doing, you're just not going to go anywhere. I don't run machines. I'm not out selling anymore. I'm still involved in all of the different aspects of the company, but I've been very blessed. My father and my uncle and my grandfather built a fantastic culture here at Volk Packaging that I've tried to continue, uh, going all the way back to, we had an employee at one point that was out in, I think, Ohio, and they were
Mm.
having some medical problems, and my father chartered a jet to fly them home to make sure that
Wow.
they could get home. And it's, that's a kind of a big gesture, but it's little things. I remember when I was a kid, and this is actually one of the chapters in my new book, but it's called Small Ball Matters. And one of the things that I learned from my father is how the little things matter.
Mm.
You can do grand gestures like rent a charter and have giant cookouts and all those little things. But I
Sure.
remember going to football games when I was a kid, and we didn't know a single person in the game. I didn't know a single person in the game. And my
Yeah.
father would drag us to these football games. I'm like, why are we at this football game? Well, because my plant supervisor's son is playing.
Son's playing it. Wow.
And so he would bring us to the football games. I remember going on family trips where he would buy coffee mugs because we had a customer that we had an employee that collected coffee mugs. And I remember him when we went to the Vatican, he bought, I don't know, 25 rosary bead,
Mm.
necklaces or whatever you call them, to bring back to all the Catholic employees that we had.
Mm.
It's little things like that that I learned over the years that really matter. They show people that you care about them. You don't just care about them because they put out a product. You care
Yeah.
about them as a person.
Yeah.
And you have to genuinely do it. You can't just do it. You have to actually care about them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you can try to fake it till you make it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to actually caring about the people and giving them the time to express to you how they're doing. And when you say how you doing, when you're walking through the plant or walking through your office and you say how you doing, you're not just saying it like you say at the supermarket to the
Right.
cash
Right.
register lady.
Like you're
You have to
really saying
actually
it.
want to know,
Yeah.
how are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever find that, do you ever say anything different than just how you're doing to them to engage in conversation? Or is that, I mean, do you pretty much just lead with that and see where it goes?
No, I do. Yeah, a lot of times I'll ask them, "How's the machine running today?" How,
Yeah.
and one of the things it was funny back, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago
Yeah.
now, whenever Facebook started really kicking off,
Right.
I got on Facebook and I started getting friend requests from employees,
Right.
and so I was like, "Geez, I don't know if can I do this? Is that like
Yeah.
cool to do?"
Yeah.
And so I asked my attorney, and he was like, "No, do not become Facebook friends with your employees. That's very dangerous. You don't want to do that because you can't unsee something," and on, all these legal
Yeah.
mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought about it, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I did it. I did it against his wishes. And yeah, there's some risks involved, but to me, the rewards are way
I
bigger
agree with
than
you.
the risks because
Yeah.
not only do I get to see what's happening in their lives. So now when
Right.
I go out in the plant, the only problem is now when I walk around my company, it takes me a lot longer because
Yeah. You're
I can't
talking about the
pretend
things. Yeah.
I can't pretend that I don't know their kid won a big little league game the other day, so I have to ask them about it.
Yeah. But how
And
much does that come
but it's
back to
great.
you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. And and not only that, but they see me as a real person.
Mm.
They see me playing with my granddaughter. They see me out on the boat with my kids on
Yeah.
weekends,
Yeah.
and they
Totally.
they don't see me as just some guy sitting in the corner office with a nice cushy chair. They see me as a real person with with real family and sometimes with real problems. That we all have real problems, and um, I think it's made a huge impact. So when I go out in the plant, how's your daughter? Did she have a fun at her birthday party last week? All those kinds of little
Yeah.
things. They
Yeah.
they really they really do matter
I
much
love
more than
that.
how you do it and how's the machine running.
Yeah, yeah, totally. No, I love that. And actually, I think you're the first person on the show that's really even brought up, that point, that topic of conversation. And I think that's fantastic because now you're, like you said, you're a real person. You have something to relate with them on. And how magical is that when the CEO of the company comes up and talks about something that's going on in their life? They remember that. That means a lot to them.
I hope, yeah, yeah, and I like it too, honestly, because it's nice when people don't see me as this guy in a high tower or
Right.
something or
Totally. Yeah, you're
whatever the
relatable.
expression is. Yeah, and they
They trust
see
you.
that I was out with, next week I'm going out to visit my daughter in Denver, and they'll see pictures of that, and
Yeah.
they might not like the fact that I get to travel more than they do, but they at least
Oh, they
I don't
love
think
it.
any,
Yeah,
they know that I'm working wherever I go, and they know that
absolutely.
and I don't think too many people, anybody that's been around knows how much I'm committed to this company,
Yeah.
and they don't hold it against me. But it's, people will ask me how, how's your son doing? How's your daughter doing? They see things and they ask, and that's nice too.
Very cool.
Goes both
Yeah.
ways.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell me about this breaking bread with Derek. What is that?
Uh, yeah. So I came up with that idea. I don't know how I came up with that idea, but I came up with that idea after when my uncle retired. So in 2019, my uncle retired,
Uh-huh.
and I realized that this was my show now, and I wanted to just learn more about my own company, which sounds weird after I'd been here for 30 years,
Right.
but I just wanted to learn more about my company.
Mm,
So where's the best place to do that? From the people that are in the trenches day in and day out.
mm.
So I created a thing called Breaking Bread with Derek, where in 2000, starting in 2019, I had breakfast, lunch, or dinner with every single employee. So my goal was to have breakfast, lunch, or dinner with every employee during the course of that year. And it was a challenge, as the year got kind of toward the end, and I travel a lot, and I was in the middle of my book tour, and my daughter was playing
Yeah.
D1 softball, so I was going to all her games. So when I was back in town, I would say to my assistant, "Set me up with a breakfast, lunch, and dinner." And so some nights I actually one day I had a breakfast with an employee, lunch with an employee, dinner at 5, and then dinner at 6:30.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had 2 dinners, so I had to watch what I was eating, and
Hopefully you're
it
working
forced
out.
yeah, it forced me to get a lot of exercise that
Yeah.
year. But it was, I can't even tell you how invaluable it was, because
That's awesome.
when even though I know these people really well, and like I said,
Yeah.
there have been people that have been here for 40 years.
Right.
So there are people that started here when I was in high school or in middle school for that matter. And when you walk through the plant, how you doing? Good. What's going on? How's the machine running? Great.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
only going to say so much. They're trying to
Right.
get their
Right.
job done.
Sure.
You take them out and sit down at a meal with them,
Totally different. Right.
and they will share information that honestly sometimes you don't want to know.
Yeah.
They give you a little too much information, but it was just tremendous. It was a great experience. I got to know everybody on a much more personal level. I
Mm,
had one guy that has worked for us since right out of high school. He's never had another job. He's been here 27 or 28 years,
mm.
and he's never had another job. We have 12 people with the company that have been here for more than half their life. He's one of them.
Wow.
And so we're having dinner. We had a pretty long dinner, and at one point he said to me, "How much do you know about what happens in the plant?" I
Mm.
said, "Well, I don't know. I think I have a pretty good handle on it." And I said, "But I'm sure there's things that I don't know." And he said, "I'd like to give you the Jeff LaBelle tour of Volk Packaging." And I said, What is the Jeff LaBelle tour of
Yeah.
Volk Packaging?"
Comma.
He said,
Uh-oh.
"I want to show you what I've seen over the
Yeah.
26 years that I've been here,
Yeah.
and the things that we've done that maybe you're aware of and maybe you're not."
Mm.
I said, "I would love that."
Wow.
And so we set it up for, a few days later or whatever.
Hmm.
And in between the shifts or after the first shift, he took me around and he showed me, and I probably knew 75% of it, but there was 25% I said, "I didn't know we did that." And it was fascinating. I almost wanted to go to almost everybody that's been here for 10 years or more and say, "You give me a tour of the company. Show me what you're proud of. Show me
Mm.
what you've done here." But I don't
Yeah.
want to put people on the spot like that.
Yeah.
But the Jeff LaBelle tour of Volk Packaging was definitely one of the highlights of the Breaking Bread. I
Very cool.
It's a lot. It's a big undertaking. If you have hundreds of employees, you
Sure.
obviously can't do it.
Right.
But to anybody who has a number of people that work with them that is reasonable, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you could take,
That's a,
two.
that's another thing that I just said that I say I don't even think about anymore. But
Right.
one of the things that my father always said is never say these people work for you. They always work with you.
I love that.
And that was he taught me that when I was, I think, like in high school or even before that. And whenever I run into somebody, at a restaurant or whatever, I'll come up, I'll introduce myself, and I'll say, "I'm Derek Volk. I work with Dave, or I work with Mike."
Man, that is
I
awesome.
never say he
What a
works for
great
me.
feeling for that person gets from that. You're really representing him well in front of his family, his or her family,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
that was a lesson my father taught me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So this breaking bread with Derek now, do you do that? Do you try to do that every year still?
I try to keep up. I can't do it with every year with every person,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I've tried to keep as new people come on. I try to grab them and go out for a meal with them.
Yeah.
Not right away, because right away they're not going to have any input
They
for
don't
me.
really have anything. Yeah. Yeah.
They don't really have
Yeah.
anything to say. So I want them to be here, at least 6 months. And then once six
Yeah.
months comes, I'll say to my assistant, set me up with a breaking bread. Or sometimes if I just look at my calendar, I'll text somebody and I'll say, hey, you want to grab breakfast tomorrow? And then I have to text the supervisors, Dave's going to be a little late tomorrow. I'm taking him out for
Yeah.
breakfast.
Yeah.
And they make do for whatever
And
time
then
that takes.
have you noticed that since 2019, since doing that and walking around the plant, have you found that since you've had that meal, that the employees, your team members, have been a lot more forthcoming, not as intimidated by you, but willing to give up more information or just easy conversation?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And in fact, last night as we're recording this, I had dinner with one of my machine operators,
Yeah.
who came up to me after we had a company meeting. We have a monthly company meeting where I give everybody all the KPI and everything going on.
Right. Right.
And he came up to me and said, Can I grab you for a meal sometime? And he
Mm,
said, I know we've already done our breaking bread, but and I said, yeah, absolutely. So we went out for dinner last night and he told me some things that were bothering him, and I addressed them this morning, and we smoothed it all out. So
fantastic. Yeah.
it's really valuable. The one thing that I will say that has kind of that that was kind of a setback on that, or took me a little off, is that I've kind of created this culture where they think I'm the only one that can do anything, that
Oh,
I'm like the guy that can fix all the problems, and I can't fix all the problems.
sure.
So I have to remind them that this is a team effort, and I can't solve all the problems, but we have a
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
team here, and if we put our heads together, I'm sure we can figure it out.
Yeah. And then do you think this doing this kind of breaking bread concept, has that kind of filtered down to your, middle level managers? Are they kind of doing somewhat similar type things, do you think?
Yeah, I've had several occasions where someone has had an issue with a person, and I'll say, take them out for lunch.
Yeah.
Just grab them and take them out for lunch.
Yeah. Get them away from the work
And with
site
my new
and
COO,
yeah.
I hired a new chief operating officer back in
Uh-huh.
May or June, I guess. And one of my um, challenges to him was, in the next year, I want you don't have to take everybody out for a meal. It's
Yeah.
time consuming and expensive, but your goal for the next, one of your goals for the first year should be to meet with every person one on one, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes, and just hear them out. There is no better way to learn about this company
Yeah.
than meeting with the people one on one.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. What a
And
great
there were
way
a
to
couple
go.
people that were uncomfortable with a one-on-one. So I told them, if you want to go a two-on-one, grab one of your buddies and we'll go, a couple of us. And that's
Yeah.
fine too.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you have monthly meetings where you update, is that an entire company meeting
Yeah.
where you update everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I
Yeah.
think you said in between those, you also have a newsletter that you put out to the entire company as well.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a newsletter. It's more like a news memo, but
Okay.
it's
Fair
not
enough.
that fancy. We used to do a newsletter, which was really nice, but social media kind of killed our newsletter, because everything, by the time we print it now, it's so old. Everybody's like, I saw that on Facebook 3 months ago.
Oh yeah.
So, but what I started during COVID,
Uh-huh.
I think this was actually my wife's idea, so I'll give her
Uh-huh.
credit for it, even if it wasn't. But was I started a thing called Derek's Outbox,
Hmm.
where during COVID things were changing so fast.
Hmm.
It was so hard to keep everybody updated, that I
Hmm.
got everybody's email, and I started sending out a daily memo with what
Hmm.
was going on, what the new policies were, what the CDC was saying, what I was hearing from the White House, from everything. This is what I'm hearing. This is the latest. This is how it's impacting us. And also, I use that as an opportunity to share good news, because during COVID, there wasn't a whole lot of good news going
Right,
around.
right, right.
So I'd say, hey, look, this customer is doing really well right now. We just picked up this new piece of business. And post COVID, I don't do it every day anymore, because there isn't enough to talk about every day. And I think it would probably turn into white noise.
Hmm.
But I do it at least every other week. I'll send out an email to the entire company, and then I follow it up. I follow it up as well with we do. I don't know if you've ever seen. There's an app called Marco Polo where you can do like a
Yeah.
video message to
Yeah. Video
everybody.
messaging.
So I do like a video message to everybody and say, if you miss my email, and that way everybody's got an opportunity to see it, and it's just been a great way to just stay in touch with everybody, keep everybody updated. We try to get all the new people to sign up on the Marco Polo, and so it's been a good way to communicate with people. I'm a big proponent of there isn't enough that you can't have enough communication with the people that work with you, because if you don't, that's when rumors start. And there is nothing I hate worse than rumors. Anytime I hear a rumor, I immediately shut the place down and have a company meeting.
Oh, okay.
I just heard this rumor. I just want to address it. This is the facts. Here's the situation. The rumor was somewhat right, but not totally. And here's why. And just address it right up front, because those could be toxic.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, such great stuff. Your communication with your team is absolutely outstanding. I just want to commend you on that, and that is fascinating to hear. And some of the best leaders that I talk to, they have similar messages, that they are in constant communication with their team. And they don't just rely on their middle and lower level managers to relay, waterfall the message. They have direct messaging going out to the entire team, getting intimate, like you're doing with Marco Polo, to the entire team. And that just really is fantastic. Yeah, I love to hear that.
It's it can be a lot of work, but
Sure.
again, it's really, it comes down, at the end of the day, it really comes down. You're only as strong as the people that you have around you.
Yeah. Totally.
And I stole this idea, so I can't take credit for it, from a friend of mine who a couple Christmases ago sent me a video Christmas message on
cool.
on text, by
Uh-huh.
text.
Oh,
He was just like, "Hey, Derek, this is John. Just want to wish you a happy New Year, Merry Christmas." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm stealing that idea." So that year I was actually away for Christmas,
yeah.
and I spent about 3 hours
Uh-huh.
sitting with my selfie stick and doing one message after another.
After it.
And I did a
Wow.
custom Christmas message for every single person in the company. And
You did.
it's
Wow.
great. I love doing stuff like that. And now I've taken that and I've actually expanded it now to customers, and I do custom videos for potential customers and new customer. Every new customer we get, I do a video and I say, "Hi, Dave. This is Derek. I'm the owner of the company, and I just want to reach out and let you know how much we appreciate you coming on board with Volk Packaging." And then I show a little clip. I said, "Yeah, you've probably never been here. I don't know if you'll ever get here. So I'm going to show you a little clip." And then I have like some stock footage of inside the plant and machines running with robots, and I show them a little video.
You do that for
And
prospective customers, or
prospective customers, I
current
do it for
customers?
I do it for prospective customers as the sales reps ask me. I do it for every new customer that comes on board, and
Wow.
then I do it for just any customer that comes across my desk. I see a big order come across my computer, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to do that. Send a video to that person and just thank them for that nice order."
Holy shit, man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
You weren't
yeah,
kidding when you said it's all about doing the little things.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
you do it
Yeah,
for your clients as well. That's a first. I've not heard of that, but wow. If you're listening to this podcast, I would everything Derek just said, I would find a way to implement in your company. You're not too busy to make it happen. Those are little things. That's fantastic, man. Um,
thanks.
so what's next for Volk? What's the future hold for you guys? Where are you guys going?
That's a really good question. And thanks to I know you're going to ask me about a book because I listen to your show,
Yeah,
and I have a different book in mind. But I read the book Traction last
yeah.
year. I was trying to figure out how I can get a consistent message out to my team, and so that
Mm,
everybody knew what our goals were, where we're headed. And I was telling a friend about it, and he said, "Well, have you read the book Traction?" I
yeah,
said, "No." He said, "You should read the book Traction." I read the book cover to cover on a
yeah.
plane on a flight to Israel,
Right,
and I was so excited. I came back.
right.
I bought a copy for my leadership team.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, "We are doing this,"
100%. Right.
and it has been terrific. Uh, it I know you said we have good communication here, but it took it to a new level because now we have goals. Everybody knows those goals. Everybody's on the same page of what those goals are. We have a 1 year goals. We have our 3 year goals. We have our big, hairy, audacious 10 year
Yep.
goal.
Yep.
And I'm very excited. 2024 is going to be a bit of a challenge for us because I put in 2 brand new machines. So I'm like that guy in that TV commercial. I'm up to my eyeballs in debt. But it's all good because it's good debt. It's debt that's going to help this company grow. I have a fantastic sales department. And I have no doubt that once we get these machines up and running fully, we're just going to just kill it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very excited for the future. And the EOS process has really helped us with the new equipment and figuring out, okay, what do we have to do to get this equipment up and fully operational?
Yeah. So do you think that is your biggest kind of hurdle right now in front of you, is getting the equipment up and running and kind of overcoming the learning curves from those?
Yeah, the 2 new machines that I bought, which
Hmm.
again I bought simultaneously, which
Yeah.
when I bought them, I texted my father and said, I'm buying both of them. And my father said, you're gonna need the whats that you use to skydive to do this. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I'm aware. And but it just felt like the right thing to do for the company. It's either grow or die. The companies that we compete against are billion-dollar companies,
Mm,
so they have a lot of money, and
they do.
you got to keep up with the Joneses. So
Gotcha.
uh, the biggest challenges that we're having right now are supply chain issues, or at least that's what the companies are telling us. The 2 new machines that I purchased
Hmm.
came in right on time and they're running beautifully. But all the equipment that I need to go around them, the robots and the stackers
Right.
and the
Right.
conveyor, are all delayed. And
Mm,
that's just really that's been a challenge. My team has stepped up. People are working Saturdays. We're working overtime. We're looking at putting a third shift on to pick up some hours. I have no doubt that we'll get through it, but it's going to be a challenging year to get through that. But that's why they call it growing pains and not growing fun.
there you go. Awesome. So I was going to ask the question: if you were going to hire a CEO to take the reins for your company, what's the one book that you'd require he or she read before taking over for you, and why?
Well, I read a lot of books, so
Uh-huh.
I was thinking about that. There's a lot of different choices, but I read a really interesting book called Predictably Irrational,
Mm,
and it's all about how people do things predictably, but not rationally. The decisions that we make a lot of times don't make any sense,
right.
but we do them predictably irrationally. And I've used that book for so many things
Really?
in the way that we approach customers, the way that we do quotes, the way that we address pricing, the way that we do contracts with customers. Um, it's really a fascinating book, and it's not a business book per se. It's more a psychology book, I would say.
Mm, okay. Yeah.
Um, but even like how people, there's a whole chapter about how people love free. People do anything for free.
Mm,
They will give away something worse to get something. They'll give away something better to get something worse for free.
right.
And it's really interesting about how they do it and about how it works and how the mind works when it comes to getting something for free, about how we work, how we compare things, and we make decisions based on how we compare things, and that changed the whole way that we do contracts with customers. So it's a terrific book. It's by a guy named Dan Ariely, I think it's pronounced,
Okay.
uh,
Cool.
but it's called Predictably Irrational. So that's my book of the book tip.
Awesome. Awesome. I have not read that one. I'll have to check that out. So
Yeah,
thanks for
yeah.
sharing that. Let me take a few minutes, Derek, and just summarize some of my takeaways from today.
All
Um,
righty.
the first one is I mean, the overarching message is it's all about the people. It's all about getting the right people in the right seats, and then that are committed to what they're doing, and then maintaining that relationship with the company and management with those people. And you do that through a number of things. And I think that's really the core of what we talked about today, and how you've done that is, number one, is it's all about doing the little things with your team. And as we'll see, it's also the little things with customers. But you connect with them on social media, and your attorney even advised you not to. But what you found is there's so much benefit in relational compatibility, or just having that relation between them. So when you're walking around, you have something to talk about. They see that you're a real person, and then you care about them enough to bring something up, and you're paying attention. The other was breaking bread with Derek. You, in 2019, you had breakfast, lunch, or dinner with every one of your employees, and you still try to do it as much as you can, but that has been very important for you, very critical in forming that relationship and really hearing from them. They don't talk about it much about what's going on when they're at work, but when you get them away from work, they really open up to you on what's going on, has been your experience. And then you kind of do a kind of a newsletter, but during COVID, you found that you really needed to keep people updated. So you started doing Derek's Outbox, and that turned into, now you send out really more of a memo, but you keep the entire company up to date every other week on what's going on in the company, which is fantastic. People love that. I know they do. And you even send a Marco Polo, which really makes it a little bit more intimate between you and them. The other one I'll just kind of bring up, I think is fantastic, is that you send out videos for like a Christmas message for everyone in the company. You send out videos when you get new clients or somebody puts in a big order, or prospective customers. I think all of the things that I just listed that you do, that if another CEO were to take that on, I'm sure it would be fantastic. Just phenomenal things for the company. Derek, let me ask a quick question. If there was one takeaway that you'd really want the audience to absorb from our time together today, what would that be?
Uh, you know, Jackie Robinson said that our lives are only as important as the impact they have on others, or something to that effect. That might be a misquote, but that's the basic gist of it. And we certainly know Jackie Robinson's life was very impactful. And that's really what it comes down to, that at the end of the day, that's what really matters. If I die and my obituary says he made a lot of boxes, then I failed miserably. That's not really the boxes is a means to an end, to provide a nice life for 110 people and a nice life for my family as well.
Gotcha. How are you impacting those families? Yeah, I love that.
Exactly.
Very cool. Well, Derek, if any of our listeners wanted to reach out, perhaps there's someone that would like to use Volk Packaging services, or get in touch with you if they have any questions about some of the things that we talked about today, what's the best way they can do that?
Best way is probably through our website, is Volk Boxes, VOLKBOXES, volkboxes.com.
Cool.
And of course, you can find us. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and everywhere.
Everywhere. Awesome.
We're all over it.
Well, Derek, again, thanks for being on the show. There was so much that I learned, so many new things that I have not really heard about, that other CEOs that you're doing as a CEO. And I think that was just wonderful. So thanks for being on the show and being willing to share some of your secrets of success.
I appreciate you having me. It's a great show. I enjoy listening to it.
Yeah, man. And I'll look forward to getting your book when it's released. When do you think it's coming out?
Probably, I'm hoping by the end of the first quarter.
Okay. So you're right around the corner. Awesome.
Yeah, getting close.
Very good. Awesome. Thank you again for being here. And for the listeners, please hit the like and subscribe button and help us spread the word about what we're doing. We're helping the next generation of CEOs and leaders be that much more successful. With that, this is your host, Patrick Rogers, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks a lot.